everybody, and welcome back to the Planet Film Network. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I'm your host, TJ Cornwell.
And tonight we are going to be talking to you about a couple of different things. We're going to be talking some Daredevil Born Again episodes 4 and 5. We're going to be talking The Boys episodes 1 through 2 / 1 through 3. Just because I got a chance to see the most recent episode, but TJ did not. And then we're also going to be talking a little bit of Maul Shadow Lord. This time TJ is all the way caught up, but I have not gotten a chance to see the ones that just came out. So we're going to talk about all those things and more. We also are fully live today, back live with you guys after some scheduling stuff came up last week. And obviously the technology issues that I've been having with my computer, which hopefully are okay. But without further ado, do you want to start with the latest movie that both of us maybe have watched?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So first off, also what I was saying is we are fully live. So we have 6 people joining us already. So if those 6 people want to, you can jump right down below. Actually, you're not going to be able to do that until I put the link in there. But once I put the link in both the live chat and in the description, if you guys want to call in with your camera off, microphone on, if you want to call in for about 1 minute to give us your thoughts on any of the shows that we're going to be talking about, or the film that we're going to be talking about in a second, or any of the CinemaCon news that we're going to be talking about as well. Just a couple of posters for some big movies, some footage shown, everything like that. I want to get TJ's quick thoughts on, but I also want to get your guys' quick thoughts and stuff. So go ahead and jump in the live chat where that link is, and just make sure that you have your camera turned off and your microphone turned on. When you join in, you might be sitting for a while in there. We will get to your call. So if you're getting impatient or whatever, just stay in. We will pull you guys in once we're done. Without further ado, TJ, we both separately went and saw The Drama this past week. I have seen it twice because I was not able to go with my girlfriend the first time. Okay. So we went again the second time. So I'm just going to throw to you right away. The Drama. What did you think of this movie?
I thought it was really good. Full disclosure, the whole kind of big twist that kind of happens in the first, 20 minutes or so of the movie. Mm-hmm. So I actually saw that when it was leaked. That's prior.
A month?
Yeah. At the time, I didn't know, obviously, if it was real. So, in all honesty, when I first saw it, I was like, I really hope that's not it. Because I was like, I don't really like that. But in the context of the movie, and actually seen the full movie, I thought it worked really well. But I thought Robert Pattinson and Zendaya were awesome. Great performances all around. I think Alana Haim coming out on top, honestly, just being the most hateful character that I've kind of thought up. And me in the theater being like, I hate this character, get her off the screen. But I just thought it was a really good movie talking about kind of like what people have done in their past and how people react to that. And also the how people nowadays get if you have empathy for somebody, that's seen as a weakness, I feel like, in society nowadays. And I thought this movie does a really good job looking at that and kind of critiquing that. And I just thought overall it was a really, really good movie looking at kind of how we're raised as kids as well, as far as obviously we all know bullying and stuff happens and stuff like that, but how that kind of sticks with you, and if everybody has a secret or something, and how that comes out, how people can perceive you a different way. I just thought that all worked really well.
Yeah, I think to dance around what it actually is, that is crazy. I was just talking to Tori yesterday about, I was like, if I had known that before seeing it, that would have not ruined the movie, but mm-hmm. I will be grateful the rest of my life that this movie wasn't spoiled, because I know that the spoiler was out there. So I was so thankful that I was able to dodge and weave until I saw it. And then Tori ended up seeing it a week late. So, even they didn't get it spoiled for them, which was a great reveal in the movie. Because that moment is just crazy. But we will leave that for you to discover when you go and see The Drama for yourself, if you haven't. That being said, I agree with everything TJ said. I think, am I a little too far from my microphone? I think
There you go.
Okay. I agree with everything that TJ said about it. I think that it is like a really, really just great movie in general, but also it is really trying to like surprise the audience by trying to tackle some like pretty serious discussions that like kind of just are like everyday things that you know, people, like you said, people don't like to think about, or like if you have empathy for somebody, or if you like have understanding for someone, or even if you could just find your way to forgiving someone that like society, or maybe even just the people in your life,
Yeah.
you know, deem unforgivable, you know, that's like some sort of like a faux pas. And I think that that's like a great thing that it's trying to deal with. And I also like the way that their relationship with Robert Pattinson and Zendaya, they play Emma and Charlie respectively. I think that they really do so much quick work in the beginning of the movie to make their relationship feel so real that like
Yeah.
everything else that happens in the movie feels real because of that. And I think you can't do the way that this movie ends unless you really feel like they have that genuine like connection to each other. And I think that like the entire roller coaster to get where we end up, I think is just amazing and just like kind of propels you through the narrative. Um, but yeah, there is like so there. It's very hard to just discuss this movie without spoilers. But all to say, I think that my quick thoughts on a quick review is just I think it really went for what it was trying to go for, and I think it mostly succeeded in that,
Yeah.
in addition to just being a great movie. That's what I would say. But I think maybe we have a caller on the line who's looking to discuss this movie. Caller, if you're looking to discuss this movie and if you're ready to talk, go yes, absolutely. Boom. All right. We are gonna bring in friend of the show, very close friend of the show, Danielle. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, as you guys discussed, like I thought it was a really great movie, like even better than I anticipated.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Pattinson fan. I never was into Twilight or anything, but like yeah, I thought they did great. Like their chemistry was even better than I expected. Zendaya was amazing per usual. Without giving any spoilers though, I will say when I watch movies, I'm a very like logistic type person. Like I
Yeah.
think of it as a real life thing. And the entire time, I will just say like the conflict could have been avoided if someone just said, "Okay, let's talk about this." um,
Yeah.
or like let's see someone. And also the whole you know, I'm not the same person I was when I was 15, and I'm turning 30 this year as well. So it's very like that part kind of got to me where I was like, I don't know why. Um, and then not to give anything away, but Alana Haim's character isn't a saint either, and
Yeah.
so I guess her being upset was validated, but it was like I don't know, as TJ said, the empathy thing I think is it really depends on the type of person you are. But all in all, I thought it was a great movie. I did get it unintentionally spoiled for me 2 days before
Ooh.
by TikTok. So unfortunately I didn't have the shock factor. So going into it, I was cringing during that scene because I knew what was to come.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was really good.
Yeah, which in itself can be a positive, that like the tension wasn't gone completely. It was just like, oh, how is this going to come about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which like I think shows that, you know, even if that happens, I mean, TJ obviously enjoyed it too. So it's like, even if you know going in, I don't think it is a complete ruiner, you know what I mean? As like some other movies live and die on reveals like that.
I think it's really interesting too, like going into it. It's like you're never not on her side, I would say.
Yeah.
Like I would like just slowly revealing like these characters. Like first we obviously get Alana Haim, and then as it goes, like we get Robert Pattinson, and then just like how like the whole movie, I'm like, what are you doing? And then when he like tries to have sex with his like I don't know what I guess coworker or whatever she is.
Yeah.
I'm like, first of all, I was like, this is such like a guy thing. I'm like that. Like sometimes it's important to just like Danielle said, either go talk to somebody or you just have to step back and be like, okay, who is this person? Who's this person I've known for like 10 plus years at this point, or however many years they've been together? You know, is she really the same person she was when she was whatever 15? I think it is.
Yeah.
I guess that was my thought too. Is like, as someone who's been in a relationship for nearly a decade and everything, it's like if you learn something new about your partner, it shouldn't change like the person you know. I mean, of course, depends on the circumstance, but in this specific instance, I don't think like I'm not to say it's not a big deal. However, if the situation had gone differently that Zendaya reveals, that would be a whole different conversation. But yeah, I really think a lot of it is the lack. If there was more communication throughout the movie, or like leading up to it, or even just immediately after, it would have been a whole different movie.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of again, trying to say like as spoiler free as possible. Obviously, we won't say the thing at all, like when we brush up against it. But I think there's a lot of like intentional frustration baked into the movie of like specifically that scene with his like that scene in like the lunchroom or whatever in the break room, when he's like throwing the hypotheticals at her. Right. I think that's such a great scene that like, because kind of Danielle, what you're saying of like, if you just talk about it, or like if you just think about it logically, which I think that at the end of the day, I think the movie is saying that it is possible to move past things. But I think like in that moment, she is so like, well, I'd probably do this. That's what I would do. Like, that sounds like crazy. And then he like what he does, like how upset that he gets. I think that is like very intentional of like, almost in that scene, like Charlie is finally then like he's almost ready to do it, but he's now like going through and like checking with other people to see if,
exactly.
Like, it makes sense to like begin to forgive. And I think that like that scene is very good where it's like frustrating with that. And then the other one that I can't even remember, but there's another one where it's like, like when he just straight up in the like in Alana Haim's office.
I was gonna say when he just lies about everything.
Yeah, but also when he throws Rachel's story back at her and doesn't put it as nicely as she did. Like he puts it how the audience took it, where he's like, "You did this to this person. What are you talking about?" And she's just like, "Well, that's just totally different."
Exactly.
It's like that like felt like intentional like rage bait from the movie. And
it's like it's totally different because you actually did it.
Yeah, literally, yeah. But yeah, I thought everything like that, and there's just so many moments.
It also kind of comes into question like the whole like, can you like I've never seen the movie, but The Firm, right, with Tom Cruise, it's like, or no, Minority Report, I think it is, where it's like,
oh yeah, like
you're getting arrested or whatever based on what you're going to do in the future, but it's like
thought crime,
right? Exactly, but it's like, okay, she had the thoughts, but like they never happened. So how do you judge somebody on that? You know what I mean?
yeah. I think it's great, but yeah, I thought it was an excellent movie, very very good, one of the best of the year so far. It's only the third movie of 2026 I've seen, but very good. All right, anything else you wanted to touch on, Danielle?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Perfect. Well, thank you for calling in. All right. Anybody else who may want to call in, that's exactly how it goes. We'll talk to you for about 3, 4, 5 minutes about whatever topic you want to talk about. If you want to tell us your thoughts, and then we'll kind of go back and forth with you on there. So that is our quick thoughts on the drama, which is playing in theaters right now, nationwide and all around the world and everything like that. And it's doing pretty good. So check out the drama. Are you going to check out the drama? Let us know down below in the comments, or let us know in the live chat right now if you have seen it, or if you haven't seen it. Are you going to watch it? Or if you have seen it, let us know what your thoughts were, but trying to keep your thoughts spoiler free in the chat or in the comments. All right, TJ, where do you want it? Let's go next to some CinemaCon news.
All right, let's do that.
So first, because the other thing that I had is the video is way too loud. So I'm going to work on that while I get your thoughts on, there we go. these two beauties, which is obviously we have kind of a more action-y poster, brand new, I should say. These are the first two official posters for Spider-Man Brand New Day, which were revealed by Tom Holland and Sony Pictures CEO Tom Rothman at yesterday's CinemaCon panel for Sony Pictures. We also got a good amount of Spider-Verse images first look. We got the announcement that Spider-Verse will be the first animated feature to be fully mastered in the 1:3 IMAX ratio, which is very, very cool. I know there was another movie today, I think with Reese Witherspoon, I think, that was announced that it'll be the first ever fully digital 1:3 movie. So it just sounds like this CinemaCon, the word is IMAX, which is not really a shock if you've been paying attention to the news in the past like 5 years. But it just sounds like a lot of IMAX coming. So we got IMAX coming for Brand New Day, a couple other movies, as well as the animated Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. But real quick, while I work on some of the Warner Brothers stuff that I'm trying to pull up, what are your thoughts on these two Spider-Man posters? A little more action forward, and then obviously a little more traditional. This one clearly invoking the original Kirsten Dunst Tobey Maguire movie with her reflected in his eye. And then they also did the same thing with Emma Stone for Andrew Garfield's second movie. So this is kind of finally doing the classics MJ, reflected in Spider-Man's eyes poster. And then kind of the more, him fighting the Hand in the streets of New York, which, kind of plays more on what we've seen in the trailer. And then as well, if you've heard about anything about the extended scene that they showed, which was the extended scene set at that party at MJ and Ned's apartment. So just a little more detail on that. So what are your thoughts on all this Spider-Man Brand New Day stuff, as well as anybody watching? What are your thoughts on Spider-Man Brand New Day?
Well, one, I'll say it's exciting. I believe this is, when is this? July? June?
This is July. Oh yeah, I did the ones without the date, of course. July 30th.
Okay, so obviously movies coming quick, right around the corner. We didn't talk much about the trailer either. I think they were released a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But these trailers do get me excited. I would say, agreeing with, I think, Shelly in the chat, the Hand poster, not as big of a fan of, just because it's kind of, it doesn't really give me much.
Yeah. And
just kind of on top of that, I know in the trailer, people are thinking they're doing a similar thing to what they did with No Way Home, where they kind of edited out Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, because it's shot very similar. And there's clearly spaces between. I don't think it would be them again.
I want your gut right now. Who do you think it would be?
Give me Punisher. And
you think Frank's getting his ass out off that roof?
Yeah. And trying to think of who else was announced in the movie. If everything's to be believed, maybe Sadie Sink.
I have another theory, and 3, 2, 1, boom, there it is. I'll posit another theory. 2 people edited out, or 1 Hulk edited out.
That's also very possible. Yes.
Although the Hulk might be a little bit of a heavy gun for the Hand.
Yeah, I could get behind that. I really like that first poster with the MJ reflection in his lens there. I thought that looks really cool. Yeah. I'm very interested to see how, and maybe it's really as simple as like he kind of just befriends them, but like how he kind of works his way back into that trio. Assuming he does.
Yeah.
Because at the end of, correct me if I'm wrong, you have No Way Home. They don't remember him at all. Like, it's not like, oh, yeah, I don't remember your Spider-Man. It's like, I have no idea who you are. So I'll be interested to see how they kind of weave that back.
I think there's a chance that, obviously I don't know. But so do you know about did you hear about the clip
that
they showed?
No.
Okay. So it's the extended scene of Ned and MJ's apartment. So it's the scene with Ezra Bridger who is playing MJ's new boyfriend. And basically it's him coming in. It's the scene from the trailer of like, oh, nice flowers. Oh, I'm just a friendly neighbor, from down the hall. Or I'm just a neighbor from down the hall. And she's like, oh, a friendly neighbor. But it is basically an extended version of that, where it's Peter walking around Ned's room, seeing like their Lego Star Wars minifigures and stuff, and that Ned is looking for Spider-Man and then there's a little bit of a conversation with Ned and Peter where Ned's like, yeah, he actually like saved us a couple of times back in high school.
Yeah.
So I want to, and he's like, so you're trying to out his secret identity, and Ned's like, no, I'm just trying to thank him. And then it's basically, MJ comes home and is like, she's excited about the party, but then she has talks to Ned about that she had just come from a job interview, and he's like, did you nail the interview? And she's like, yeah, I got the offer, but I'm not going to take it because I'm like, I still feel like I'm waiting for something. So it's like, I think that, and that's really all the scene. It was just that that party scene with the three of them kind of going back and forth, ending with Amon Esfandi coming in and being her new boyfriend.
Do you think this is her last one?
Well, that's why I want to throw back to you on what you just said about how do you think they roll it back together, is like, so clearly there, and even in the end of No Way Home, it's like there seems to be a vague glint in the back of MJ's mind when she sees him at the coffee shop. She's like,
right.
There's almost like a flicker of recognition, but like if he doesn't act on it, she's never going to remember herself. Right. So it's like, do you think this is something that, like, if he does enough, like, they could remember? And then I would say probably not. She probably is going to go through more. Or is this a movie where it's like he's really going to be like learning to like let go of her? Also, I got a couple more of these from the trailer.
Yeah, I think it might be learning to let go, honestly. Specifically, and I'm just thinking career-wise, like, she is obviously outgrown the MCU, I would say, at this point.
Yeah.
Same with Tom Holland, I would say, although not to as successful an extent that Zendaya has, and they're obviously married or engaged or married, whatever. So I would not shock me if this is her like final hurrah, and maybe he goes on with Ned or something, and Ned continues on in the next.
Yeah, and then we do like a Gwen Stacy.
Right? Do we know if this is a trilogy? Right? Like, there's no.
It is supposedly
two after this.
Yeah. The word on the street is that Tom Holland signed on for 5 more movies of a Spider-Man trilogy and then 2 Avengers movies.
But yeah, no, it would not shock me if the movie is kind of him getting over her and kind of putting that memory to bed
behind.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah. Here's another one that I pulled too. Some of these shots are great. I know. Look at this one right here, man. I'll tell you. And like, what do you inside think? The eye thing?
I don't know much about Man Spider. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
You know me, not big spider fan. I'm not a big fan of spiders in general. So I don't know how I would feel about a man mutating into one.
I really don't think that they're going to do that.
Okay.
Like, I really don't think they're going to do that. I think that they're going to use the imagery of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're going to evoke that from the comics, but I think it's just going to be a, like, as you can see here and here, like, they are his web shooters, his new silver web shooters are very, very prominent. And I think that they are only so prominent because he is going to no longer need them after this movie. And I think that whatever they're doing, I think that they are going to go, he is evolving, he is becoming whatever, he's going to get the organic web shooters just like Toby did. That's not really a thing from the comics,
spikes
but like
coming out of the fingers.
Dude, that would be so cool if he sees that. That would be like, if they recreate that shot, that would be beautiful. But I think that that's as far as they're going to go with it. Like, I don't think that he's going to be walking around with 6 arms and 2 legs and stuff. But I think they will invoke that imagery. I mean, you see it in the trailer already with his eyes like splitting into like spider eyes, which, looks very interesting. But I think that they will maybe just do everything except for turning him into a human spider. I think that like they will kind of use that storyline and elements of that storyline. But I think it's just more about a mutation than any sort of disgusting like permanent like Cronenberg-esque issues going on.
The Fly,
yeah, exactly.
And last question I'll say is we think that Scorpion's probably the main villain in this.
I don't know. I think I really don't have a lead on the main villain yet. Like, I feel like looking at the trailer, like there's just so many villains that it's like, I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like it could be obviously the Hand being on that poster leads you to believe that okay, well maybe they're going to be the most significant, but also like maybe that was just like the most interesting one to put on the poster.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be shocked. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, last question because my mind's like thinking different things now. That with the animated show is that canon?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I mean, it's canon. It's like the people in the MCU, but it's like if events went differently.
All right, okay. I was like, he was in that one in that show, so I'm like, do they kind of bring it over where it's like, oh, you've met this guy before, type thing? But
yeah. All right, so let's see. Shelly, before we move on, Shelly says, I think if he mutates into Man Spider, I think it will be temporary, like a step towards where he is really evolving into. Yeah, it could be like one sequence where it's like almost like he becomes that, and then it's like, okay, when he like calms down, now that's like how he is going forward now.
Right.
I don't think that they're gonna permanently alter him to some like grotesque thing, but yeah, maybe I'm wrong. All right, next up, I want to get your quick thoughts on a real movie that's actually happening apparently, and that is of course Lord of the Rings. You're like John Roca with the Thunderbolts. It's not happening. And that is of course Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum. So we got this, I guess you would call it a motion poster. I'm not playing the motion poster because when we tried to play it before we went live, it is extremely loud and there's no way for me to turn down the volume in our studio software. So I want to get your thoughts on this cast. I'm going to step out real quick and then I'll be right back. But I want to get your thoughts real quick. We have obviously who we knew was completely confirmed, Andy Serkis as Gollum and Smeagol and director of the film, obviously. And then we had who pretty much revealed himself. Ian McKellen will be back as Gandalf. And then Elijah Wood will be back as Frodo. We kind of knew those three for quite a long time already. And then we found out a couple months ago, I believe it was Variety that reported it, that Kate Winslet was going to be starring as the female lead of the movie. And then we also knew that they were searching for a young Aragorn who had been rumored to be Leo Woodall, very heavily rumored to be Leo Woodall. But now we see that Leo Woodall will be in fact playing Halvard, who is a character that I cannot conjure the image of in my head right now. I can't think of who that would be. And then they went with I would say a much, much bigger name for Aragorn, and that is the confirmation that Jamie Dornan himself, Mr. 50 Shades of Grey, and many other things that he's very, very good in, is going to be playing Aragorn in this movie. And then kind of as a last little thing, Lee Pace, kind of I would say universally one of the most beloved aspects of the Hobbit movies. I think pretty undisputed that his performance is really great in those movies. Is going to be coming back as King Thranduil. So real quick, I'm going to step out, but what are your thoughts on this cast? Do you think we're going to see an actual trailer soon? And most importantly, does this help your hope? Does this give you more hope? What are your thoughts on all this? I'll be right back.
Okay, well, if you don't know much about me, I am one thing, a noted not Lord of the Rings hater, but I'm just not as big on the movies as it seems like the rest of the world. I found the Fellowship of the Ring boring, honestly. More like a walking simulator. I can appreciate how big they are in scale and what an accomplished they are in like movie making, but I just don't get excited by them. And I've never seen the Hobbits, so no touch points there. And this is a movie I probably won't see, honestly. But I'm excited for everybody that's excited for it. Ian McKellen coming back is huge. He's got to be what, like late 80s probably. Let's see. I'm assuming this movie is already filming. I would hope at least. He's 86. So this will probably be his last hurrah in this role. So good for him. Jamie Dornan, I'm kind of surprised that Sean said, not obviously he's a bigger name than Leo Woodall, I guess, but Jamie Dornan, I don't know if he's got like that. I guess, I don't know. I don't know if he doesn't have like that star quality, I feel like. I feel like Sean kind of hyped him up a little bit more than I was thinking. And speaking of Gollum as a character, they actually made a video game like last year. Wasn't it like the same name? It was it bombed. What was it called? It was Lord of the Rings. Oh, it was just called Gollum. That I remember bombing because I remember the trailer came out like a year or two before, and everybody's like, "Oh, this looks really interesting," and the game came out and it was terrible. So I'm interested to see like what this is. Obviously, Andy Serkis is directing, so no, Peter Jackson's producing. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, so like I said, I probably won't be seeing this. But I hope it's good. I wonder if it'll do well in the box office too, because I just don't know if this is something people were asking for. Let's see. Shelley said, I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan, but I just never really watched them fully. I'll maybe watch them before this comes out. I love Jamie Dornan. Yeah. I actually I have all the extended editions on 4K. I've never watched them. I watched them all through once like years ago, and then I just was like, yeah, those were good. And I was like, okay, well, that's Lord of the Rings. Yeah, sorry.
I will say I left these on, so I was hearing you the whole time. I was definitely doing Jamie Dornan in relation to Leo Woodall, who had been rumored. Yeah. I think this is actually like what you said. I think this is a great opportunity for Jamie Dornan. I think to really finally sink his teeth into a big franchise. I feel like all I'm thinking of is 50 Shades of Grey, but I know that like, did he have like a big?
He's been pretty. I'm looking at his IMDb. He's been pretty like since Belfast. He's only done 3 things.
Right, Belfast.
He's did Heart of Stone with Gal Gadot. He did Haunting in Venice with Gal Gadot. And then he did The Tourist, which was a TV series. So he hasn't done much. I think people are really expecting him to blow up, specifically after not 50 Shades, but like, you know, everybody was, I think he did get some Oscar buzz for Belfast.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of just like he really took that step and the next step just never really came.
Right.
You know? But I'm hoping this is the next step for him. But
right. I was about to say, like, because in my head, I'm like, well, he's not like, you know, a huge star either. So like, it's not really, I'm like, they're not really comparable in that way. Because but yes, correct. Like you're like star in relation to Leo Woodall that he is.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it made sense to go with a bigger name for Aragorn, or Strider as he's gonna be known in this, I guess. Which makes sense because that's the era that we're in. But I am definitely going to see this, but honestly, I'm not much more like hopeful than TJ. I think there's like this is a movie that is like walking out on a tight ledge, and I think that I am hoping that they get there, but we shall see. All right, where do you want to go next? We have 3 shows to talk about tonight.
Oh boy.
We probably are gonna have to keep it a little quick on each of them because there's so many. Which is not really our fault. There is so much TV right now, and we are not even reviewing Invincible season 4, which is also currently airing, as well as like I'm watching like The Pit every week. I'm watching Jury Duty every week. Like there is so much good TV out right now. It is crazy.
Let's talk. Can we talk about The Boys first? That's what you said earlier, right? The first 2.
Let's do it.
That's as far as I've gotten. All right.
Yep. All right. We're going to talk about The Boys. So The Boys season 5 is back after what I thought was a pretty good season 2 of Gen V last year. And then a pretty, you know, obviously great season 4 of The Boys in 2024. We are back with the 5th and final season of this show. Obviously, we have been following it, you know, regularly, everything like that. So I will throw this one right over to you. Where do you want to go with this? How are you feeling about this? Where do we want to go? I know there is some slight spoilers with the end of the first episode that we might want to talk about. But what have been your thoughts on the first 2 episodes and kind of the return of this show?
I think it's been pretty good so far. I will say I think I'm pretty happy this is the final season.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten to a point where, and I think we saw this with the last season as well, where it's like, all right, we're running out of steam. Let's bring this train into the station and pack it up. I like the first 2 episodes for the most part. Karen Fukuhara, she finally gets to talk. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's her line reading or if it's the lines, but one of them is not good. Like,
yeah,
I think it's just the very cringy dialogue, and I understand that it's like she just learned how to speak pretty much. But it just doesn't work in these interactions. Like all of Butcher's, like whenever he makes a joke or anything like that, all just works in the flow for me. But whenever Kimiko is talking, it just does not mesh for me.
I will say I feel the same way, because she has some more serious things to talk about and do, and like more actual real dialogue in episode 3, but she also has a lot of like more of the humor and stuff. And yeah, I agree. I mean, I think a lot of people online are talking about that too, that it just like, it almost sounds like ADR, and it's like, is it just like a mass psychosis where it's like just seeing her speak is like throwing us? Yeah, it's like, what the hell? Like it's almost like, we don't recognize that voice coming out of her, even though it is her voice. But yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
And another interesting thing that I am kind of, maybe they go more into it, is kind of Huey and Starlight and their relationship, because there was clearly like a sever in the first episode where she's rescuing them from the camp and she like leaves. And he's clearly taken aback by that. And obviously I don't know the character's name, but
Huey
gets the girl that he was with, the other like prisoner that he's kind of friends with or whatever. And she gets, I don't even remember what happened. She gets exploded or something crazy, terrible happens to her. And then they kind of have this like, they have this tension that I don't really feel like is ever addressed, and they kind of just I would say just kind of go past it and don't really ever talk it out. And I just don't know where that really, and maybe something happened to the end of season 4 that I'm just forgetting. And I don't remember, but I just don't know really where that came from, because I felt like it was more, it felt like there should have been more there that wasn't. Because then there's this whole conversation where Butcher's talking to Starlight, and he's like, she's clearly upset with what she's had to do to get to this point. And she doesn't want Huey to look at her a different way. But they never really talk. There's like one kind of thing where he's like, I know what you had to do, and you did what you had to do. And I'm kind of like, okay, like what is that? Like what?
Yeah. I will say,
like we've all killed people. I think
I do think there is. I think that they are going to continue with that.
Yeah.
I think there is more to come in terms of, and I think that for them, it's like, kind of just a different color of the same thing that they've always been going back and forth about, of just like, he's trying to save people. They kind of put I'll say a line from episode 3, which is like, it's like somebody puts a light on the fact that it's a different thing of like trying to keep things from getting worse versus trying to make things better. And it's like, I think that that's like a very, like, that's always kind of been like Huey versus like Butcher's dynamic. And now I think that like Annie is really feeling like she is more letting herself fall into that Butcher category. But yeah, I definitely think that like there's going to be more of that. And I'm not even talking about what's in episode 3. I'm just talking about like, I think like where the season is going. I think that there's going to be more discussion of that, and like how Annie, like how much of Annie is she willing to like basically like get rid of her herself, like who she used to
Right.
be in order to, achieve this goal that they're trying to set out
Yeah.
for.
And
But yeah.
last kind of main thing I'll say on episode 1, I know I'm jumping around here. That was crazy. What was that?
So I know somebody's just beeping their car horn out there.
Spoiler for episode 1, by the way. Full disclosure. I think I was really hoping there was going to be more Thay Train, and we didn't really get it.
Yeah.
Like Gen V, I feel like at the end of that, I believe he shows up at the end of the second season.
Yeah.
And you kind of feel like it's going to be this gang, and she's going to bring them together, and they just didn't do that. And he only got a limited amount of time, I would say, in episode 1. Like he got like one scene, I think, with his uncle for like 2 minutes, or was it his uncle or his dad or
his brother?
His brother.
Yeah.
For like 2 minutes, not even.
Yeah.
And it's like Deep gets there, and he's like, "Well, they're gone." Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. I also
right.
don't know. I also don't know. Again, I think we're like very young in this season, and I'm not. I have seen episode 3 just because it came out just last night.
Right.
But like I have seen episode 3, but like I still don't know the answer to this, so I'm not like leaning one way or like trying to lead it one way or another. But like I still don't know if there was more to the like conversation with the Deep and A Train where it's like where he's like, I'm just gonna keep finding a new place to hide them, and we're just gonna keep running, and you're gonna keep finding us. And I'm like, well, if he keeps finding you, like clearly the Deep isn't actually trying to like kill you. So it's like what, like I'm more now wondering about the Deep's view on things and his relationship to everything going on, of like why he didn't just show up with like 1,000 sharks and just like kill them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's interesting to me, but I hope that plays more. But yeah, I think generally, I think it's tough when it's like just last season was his redemption arc, and now it's like, oh, boom, like that's where you're at, like you're done. I wish that if it had been like season 3 was his redemption arc, and then he got to really help out in season 4. Or I honestly like even if he was just in like a full episode of Gen V as a good guy, like seeing that he's out there helping Annie, when he can, I think would make this moment work a lot better the way that it is. But for me, it sounds like it worked a little bit better for me than it did for you. But
sorry, one other thing. I just remembered the Deep. He is also somebody I have dialogue issues with. Sigma this and beta that. Shut up. Stop talking. Like it just doesn't work. In the context of this show, for me, it just doesn't work.
I think that the like dude and bro stuff is like it is. I think it's funny for the character, but I do think it's like it's a lot. But also like this show is a lot. You know what I mean? And it's like I think that it will I think that frustration will like really help sell the moment whenever like the end comes for the Deep.
Everybody does.
I think that is just like just the more, and I think they're in the business of like the more annoying that they can make him, like the better for whatever's coming.
He's gone.
But yeah, I think or did you want to give your thoughts on episode 2 first too, and then I can jump in with my thoughts and stuff.
Episode 2 I thought was pretty good again. The return of the return of Soldier Boy was nice to see. Kind of just picking up where he left off pretty much. I thought that was funny where what does he say? He says something to Homelander where he's like, "Oh, you just got here," or something like that. He's like, "Well, why is this tank in your
why is this like permanent installation here?"
Right. Exactly. I was like, that was funny. There was another there was an MM joke, I think, in the first episode that was funny too. Oh, it was like only Homelander got it. That was that was really funny. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good episode. Nice to see some different types of people with powers. As far as like kind of college age kids go. It looks like they have like the form of like a hype house type thing. Going on. That was kind of cool. And just kind of keeping to build the world, adding some more of these heroes.
Can I say real quick on the teenage kicks thing? I saw a lot of people online being like, using college age characters, but not using the kids from Gen V. And I'm like, I feel like using the kids from Gen V would make the world feel smaller, and that's exactly what people always complain about. Like it makes sense that there are other soups out there who go on different paths than just at Godolphin. Like Annie didn't go to Godolphin. She became a soup through the pageant circuits. You know what I mean? Like, I think that the people, like, I saw a lot of that online, that they were like, they didn't use anybody from Gen V for that. I think that's like the point.
I'm assuming they're going to show up at some point. I would be shocked if they didn't.
I would be shocked if nobody from Gen V showed up.
Yeah. But no, I'm fine with, them kind of adding new people.
Yeah. This is a world that is overflowing with superheroes.
And showing, I really like the moment with MM and I forget the girl's name, Raven something or other.
Oh yeah, the Countess Crow.
Yeah, just him kind of, wrong place, wrong time. Didn't expect her to be there.
Yeah.
And found a way to get her out. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I actually think like for issues with maybe like the amount of stuff that A-Train has been was able to do, or like any issues I have, I think one of the strengths so far has been honestly what they've been giving like MM, and I was gonna say Frenchie, but like I'd still like to see more from him. But like he is doing some stuff. Like it's not one of those things where like we're in season 5 now and everybody's just kind of like just hanging around because like they're the characters on the show. You know what I mean? Like everybody still feels like they each serve a unique purpose. You know what I mean? Like Frenchie is the chemist, he is like, now that is kind of at the forefront of like, they need Frenchie's mind for what they're trying to pull off. But I really think that it's been interesting what they're giving MM to do. And obviously MM's issues with Soldier Boy come up again and again and again in the show. But even touching into episode 3 really quick too, I do think MM so far has had a lot of good stuff to do. But yeah, I agree. I agree with that with MM. Anything else? Do you want to touch on anything else with episode 2, or do you just want me to give my?
No, I thought they were solid episodes. Obviously, like I said, quite a few annoyances for me, just like character specific. But I'm still excited to see how they wrap it up.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I enjoyed it a little more than you, it sounds like, but go figure. But no, it's just but I really I did like them, but I do share a lot, some of the issues that you had. I think that I share the same issues, they just weren't as big for me. If that makes sense. But yeah, overall, how the end of episode 1 played out, I do think I would have liked to see more from that person before what happens. But like the way that it played out, kind of finally giving him his big, like fully heroic moment of like saving all of them. And then I thought that the chase with Homelander chasing through the woods was like crazy. Like somebody online I saw, it was like the Homelander is at his scariest when he's just like a blurry thing with red eyes. And I'm like, yeah, that really is, because it's like it is like very scary. But yeah, I liked that end of the episode. And then the second episode, I thought that it was good again. I think that for me, honestly, I think that Jensen Ackles felt a little offbeat from the way that I remember Soldier Boy being in the last season. But I think maybe that was just my brain, because like in episode 3, I think that he is, spoiler alert, in episode 3, I think that he like just feels a lot more like the same character. I don't know, maybe maybe it was just like the waking up, and it was like felt like he had a lot more humor in episode 2, with whether it's like the conversation with the president in like Vought Tower, or like just like him running around and chasing Billy through the streets. Like it just, there was a little more comedy played with him. And I was like, oh, is this like all we're bringing him back for? And I think the answer is like, no, that's not all we're bringing him back for. So I think that made me feel a lot better about it. But yeah, and then I also just other people that we haven't talked about yet. I think that like Ashley has been doing, has a very interesting role that I think, we have kind of seen Ashley more and more not be happy with like what they're doing. So whether that leads to, and obviously now Ashley is, the vice president of the United States. So she has like a lot of power. Which like, is that character even supposed to be over 35? Like when they said that she was vice president, I was like, is she even old enough to be vice president? I feel like in the first season, Ashley was supposed to be like 21 years old. But anyways, not that matters at all, but I just thought it was funny with that. But I am interested to see what happens with Ashley, and I do think they're probably setting it up to have some sort of a, she's going to be key to all of this, somehow, to like flip everything around, if that's the way that it's going, or knowing this show could be over in a second for any one of these people. I will tell you this, man, there is a crazy moment in episode 3 that I was like, I had to pause it, and I was like, oh my, there is a crazy moment in episode 3. But I think that they're doing a great job so far of setting up this as the final season. I think I'm very interested to see where it's going to go and everything like that, and we will definitely talk about it. I think right now it is literally on the same path as Daredevil, so I think that they are going to end on the same week. I might be wrong in that. We might get The Boys a little bit later than Daredevil, but I hope that we do get to talk about the finale of The Boys just by itself, because I really do think that it's gearing up for a great last season, and I hope that we get to do a full deep dive into kind of the finale and the overall season. But I think for now the first 2 episodes were really, really good. Anything else on The Boys with you?
No, that's it for me.
Boom. All right, let's talk a little bit about Maul Shadow Lord. So this one, we're gonna flip what we just did with The Boys, where TJ is ahead of me on this show. So I got the chance to check out the first 2 episodes of this a little bit over a week ago at this point, but I did just rewatch the first 2 like 5 days ago, because I thought I was going to be able to watch all 4 in one sitting, and I did not get to. So instead of watching 3 and 4, I've watched 1 and 2 twice. But man, this show, I mean, beautiful, looks great, Andor vibes, voice acting 10 out of 10, animation 100 out of 10. I'm loving it so far. I love the characters. I love the intrigue. I love that the first 2 episodes, and really the show in general, but especially the first 2 episodes, really, you're just thrown in with a ton of new characters and new locations, and it just feels fresh and new. You know what I mean? While also still being that Star Wars, universe that we, know and love, as well as Maul being a character that we've seen hours and hours and hours of. But like something about the show, they found a new corner to make it interesting, to make it action packed, intriguing, political, very interesting, and very, very mature. I think this is not made for 7-year-olds that Clone Wars was made for. This is made for the 7-year-olds that Clone Wars was made for, who are now in their late 20s and 30s, or early 20s, who are now wanting a show like this that's more in line with something like an Andor, when we look at what we want from our Star Wars show. So without further ado, I'll throw it over to you. What were your thoughts on everything you've seen from Maul so far?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed all 4 episodes. I will say I think it's gotten better. These episodes 3 and 4. Not marginally better than episodes 1 and 2, because I think those are really good as well. But
yeah,
I'm just locked in. I'm very interested to see what Maul's plan is here. We're kind of hunting each syndicate, it seems, right now, and taking them down one by one, from what I can tell. And I'm really intrigued as well by the guy, I think Wagner Moura plays him, the cop, right?
Yeah, I can't think of his last name.
Brander Lawson, right?
Lawson. Oh yeah, Lawson.
I'm really intrigued by him. Obviously his kind of which obviously makes sense. He does not want the Empire involved in this whatsoever, which I think
Yeah.
is really interesting. And then his family dynamic with his son, I think, is also
Yeah.
really cool. You get a little bit more of that as well in episode 4, I think it is.
Mhm.
And I'm interested to see how that kind of comes to a head. And I'm, like I said, I'm just locked in to see what Maul's kind of end goal is here. I mean, I guess we know what his goal is, but like how that plays out.
Yeah.
And then as well as the 2 Jedi as well. Really like the frog guy.
Yeah.
That's
That's what's his name from the Allstate commercials.
Yes, correct. I was like, it's funny because he started. I don't think you hear him talk in the first episode. Maybe
The only thing he says is we can always rely on the kindness of strangers.
right. I think just
Yeah.
when he started talking because I didn't know who the voice actor was, and I was like just taken aback. I was like, I did not expect him to sound like that.
Yeah.
But I'm very interested to see kind of where they go, and I think you'll be very interested to see Devin, right? That's her name.
Mhm.
Her kind of her story play out through episode 3 and 4, because I think they do a really good job of building that. And yeah, I'm locked in. This is a must. I think this is like a must see for me right now weekly, I would say.
Boom. Yeah, I gotta get caught up. I mean, it's obviously a must see. It's like very anticipated. We already know that it's going to get seasons 2 and 3, they said. So this is I'd like to see it be I think, what is it, 10 episodes, and every week it's 2 episodes, right? So it's going to end on May 4th. That's kind of the release that we've come to expect, but again, we talk about all the reviews we've done on this channel. We have reviewed every episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch. And I miss those years where we got 16 weeks of The Bad Batch every year. That was some beautiful times, but that is sadly gone. So 5 weeks, basically 4.5 hours of a Darth Maul movie. I am down. I am very excited for that. So I'm really, really liking it. I love, like, obviously what Sam Witwer's doing, but I'll take a moment to just talk about the visuals and the sound of this show. I think that, I mean, obviously Star Wars and Lucasfilm sound is incredible, and the music and everything, but they are just operating on such a high level. Like, right after I watched episode 2, I went back on Disney Plus and I just watched like 2 or 3 minutes from the Clone Wars movie. And to think that this is the exact same animation style, just refined to its 1000th, version of itself. They just keep iterating upon it, and with Clone Wars season 7 looked way better than all of the Clone Wars. Then the Bad Batch looked even better than Clone Wars season 7. Now this looks even better than Bad Batch. I just think as long as they keep making these shows, and also throw in Tales of the Jedi, looks, every episode of Tales or any of the Tales of series, you know what I mean? Those all look fantastic too. I just think that it's hard for them to miss with their animated stuff, honestly. And I think that they're just doing a great job and knocking it out of the park with this one again. And I am excited to jump in, watch 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6 too. For by the time we're here next week, 5 and 6 will already be out. So really, really enjoying Maul so far, but we will probably check in and then also probably give a little bit more of an in-depth, longer review when the finale comes up on May the 4th. We might even get its own stream, but with this and Daredevil and The Boys all airing at the same time, it's just going to be a lot. But yeah, anything else on Maul you want to hit on before we move on to our main topic of the evening?
No, let's head to Daredevil.
Boom. Dun, 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 dun. Daredevil Born Again season 2. We are going to be talking episodes 3 and episodes 4 because we were not joined. We did not join you guys last week to talk about episode 3. Wait, no,
4. Episode
4 and 5. Episodes 4 and 5. That's right. I was
like, wait, what?
I forgot because it was a double. On the second week, it was a double.
Right? First week, I think it was a double.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we are on episodes 4 and 5 of Daredevil Born Again season 2.
Week, right? Sorry.
Okay. And then last week's episode being called Gloves Off. This week, obviously, the grand design. Man, I know you said you're gonna have to play the devil's advocate on this one. They're cooking, man. I don't know what to tell you, man.
They're cooking.
They're cooking, man. Man, this stuff is incredible. This is like, look at.
In all fairness, you just used the clip from episode 3.
That was from episode 1. That was from episode 1.
Okay.
I'm just saying that is like, they're cooking with this show, man. I have to say right off the bat, if anyone is watching right now who has not caught up on Daredevil, specifically episodes 4 and 5, we thank you guys so much for joining us, but please, I would say jump off here because these are 2 massively filled spoiler episodes with very large spoilers within them. So if you have not seen or are not caught up with Daredevil, I would say please just jump off the stream now. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And we are going to start talking about spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Okay. What were your thoughts? Here's the big one.
Yeah.
We lose.
Which
Keep
that
it
was
down.
not that specifically,
down.
but the glass in the neck that was in the or in the eye that was in the trailer. Did you see this?
Yeah, I did. I did see that.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, people just missed it because they were like, they knew that we were gonna miss it.
Yeah. So specifically speaking, episode 4, I thought the beginning was awesome. Really
with the
cool
New York
day in
State
the
of
life
Mind
of
with
Bullseye. Yep. The whole dining room calling the cops, being like, "It's Punisher, he's here."
Yeah.
And then he hangs up and, he kills all the task force guys and they come in. I thought that was all great. Boxing match. I don't really know what we're doing. Like, you didn't mention it once leading up to this. You showed me a poster. Why are we doing this? I'd asked for raising money for charity, I believe was said at one point. All in all, just comes out of nowhere. I don't know. The task force guys saying, "Don't worry, boss. Every entrance covered. Everything. Windows, ceiling, roof, doors, everything's covered." 5 minutes later, Bullseye walks right through the door. Nobody stops him. Just walks right through. It's just one of those things where it's like, can you at least show me? Can he face some something?
Can I just say, I will say when Powell says that, Fisk does specifically say, leave one of the entrances completely unguarded.
Did he say that?
Yes, because it's a trap for Bullseye. He says, leave one of the entrances completely unguarded.
Fair enough.
And they say, which one? And he says, the front door should do.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
I must have completely missed that. Okay, I apologize then. I apologize. Take that gripe off the table.
But yeah. Because that's the thing, is that the boxing match, the boxing match is the trap for Daredevil and Bullseye. That's why he doesn't want Vanessa to be there, because he knows that they will come.
Right.
And then obviously, all three of them get there at the same time and all hell breaks loose.
So, okay, setting that aside, I did like the kind of, I'm trying to remember because it was 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Or a week ago. We got some lawyering going. We get the co-captain from the ship.
Yeah.
Although they take the statement and then they I don't know why they don't just keep him and protect him? Like, why do they send him off with the U.S. Marshals? Because doesn't it have to be in your head like, hey, Fisk, he's got guys everywhere. Is there any shot? Maybe. And I know the U.S. Marshals weren't dirty, but is there any, maybe somebody's like, hey, maybe we should just keep him with us. Maybe that's a better way to protect him. Just a thought. And then I think, is this also the episode where we get BB getting the new kind of information from passed on from the younger
Karen.
girl who's the new White Tiger, which again was a little weird. Like, Daredevil, are you ready to do this? And she's like, yeah, I'm ready. It's like, how are you ready? Like, what have we done? You're ready. No training, no nothing, anything. No. Okay. Again, I'm kind of rambling, but I would say for me, it was an improvement from the previous few episodes, episode 4, but I still was like, I feel like we're really treading water here. Like, I know people are like, oh, it really takes off after the 3rd episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess maybe I'm watching a different show. Now I will say, and I'll talk about it, and we'll talk about it. But I thought this week's episode much improved personally.
Yeah.
But
wow, that makes me happy.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on episode 4?
I mean, to me, I feel like I've always been more benefit of the doubt with this, but I really do feel like this season they are really stepping it up. I have to say I do not feel the same way about episode 4. I think that episode 4
and I don't think it was. I thought it was better than the previous episodes, like some of the previous ones, but I still didn't think it was like, because I just felt like people were like, oh, after episode 3, this show is going a million miles an hour, and I'm like, I guess.
Yeah. Also, I do think it's like the people saying that are the people watching the screeners who were not told, oh, after episode 3, it goes crazy. You know what I mean? Like, now we all know that. We're all like, all right, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's part of it too, that like they didn't have those expectations of that like ramp up. So now that we all do, it's like, well, if it doesn't meet it, then you're like, well, what the hell were they all talking about? What's it called? Shelly says, I love the way that love the way Daredevil this season has jumped way out there with everything, acting, action, story, etc. Just amazing and very good surprises. Shelly, I just want to make sure if you're still watching that you are caught up with the episode that came out yesterday. Just because we will be talking heavily about that episode as well, although we are starting off with episode 4 here. I do agree that like I think that like things like, you know, the boxing match, which I know, and I'm not trying to counter everything that TJ says, but it's just like I think they did do a fair amount of setting up the boxing match. I mean, they talk about it in like every episode leading up to this,
but they just refer to it where it's like the boxing match. Okay, what about it? Like,
no, that's what I mean. Yeah, and then that too, like, and I think that Len with Angela, when he's like, "Are you sure you're ready?" She's like, "Were you?" And it's like those are very small moments that like I'm not like, well, you should be paying attention to every single thing and it should be sticking with you. It's like if it's not doing its job to stick with you, then it's not doing its job. You know what I mean? So like I think that's totally fair. That it's like
I think real quick,
they're doing it. Yeah, go ahead.
The younger girl, I forget her character.
Angela.
I think she might be suffering, her character wise. I think she might be suffering a little bit from what Ironheart suffered it from in Black Panther, where it's like it feels like they're kind of shoved in to be like, hey, here's a new hero. Like we need her in here for this to work, and you'll get more later. And it's like, well, it doesn't really, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really work totally. But continue. Sorry.
And then I think too, it's just like I just give like now that we know like season 3 is like they're full swing on season 3. We are not going to talk about the things known about season 3 here tonight, but there are some images coming out of season 3 that I would hope that everybody can avoid, because oh my god, I think oh god, what did I just lost the train of thought. I think I just give it more liberty of just like, okay, they're gonna throw this up in the air with Angela, and it's like, oh, we'll see how it lands. You know what I mean? Like I have to reserve judgment on stuff like that until we finish at least with the season. And if all Angela does is like slide people SD cards in exchange for money, and then then at the end she shows up in the white tiger suit and she's like, next season we're gonna really do it. Like then I'll be like, okay, this is like, why are you even in this season? But like even somebody like Jack, like people were very upset that like he like left the show. And it's like I love his presence, but also like it's not a swordsman show. Like I was happy,
you're not wrong.
I was happy that we got him 3 episodes in a row. You know, I was happy that we got that. And I'm sure that either later this season or next season he'll be back again. But like I thought he served his purpose and then left the show, you know, in a natural way. But you know, that being said, I do think that, you know, it's not a perfect show. Obviously, I think there's still some stuff that I'm like, okay, like where are we going with this? But then again, I think honestly, a lot of any of the issues that I had with 4 are fixed in 5 because it like there's just so much more dialogue in 5. You know what I mean? It's just basically an entirely dialogue episode in 5. There is some action too, but 4 was much more about the act. I mean, you had 2 extended, 5 to 10 minute action scenes in a 45-minute episode. Like there's a lot of action dedicated to it. And go ahead.
I'm sorry. This is an episode, we'll talk about in episode 5. It's not like a huge thing, but it just occurred to me. But keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say too. The last thing on 5 that I think, because we'll kind of touch back on things that happen in 4 that lead us to 5, but some of the things that don't come up that do come up in 5 is I just, in comparison to all of our reviews of season 1, I really like what they're doing with Daniel this year. I don't know if Gandolfini went to an acting class, or if for the first season really they just really had nothing for him. Because I remember even me, who really liked the first season, every week we were on this show reviewing it, being like, what is going on with Gandolfini? Like, what is Daniel? Like, what is this character? And I think that what we see a little bit in this episode, but a lot in episode 5, is this dynamic of him and Buck. I think is really building nice. I think kind of at the expense of people like Sheila. But then again, also, and I know I will give you your however long you want to talk about Heather for, I will give that to you. But like, I do think at a certain extent, it's like people like Cherry or like,
Cherry cheese.
What's McDuffie's first name again?
God,
I can't remember her first name.
Kirsten.
Yeah, Kirsten, of course. Oh my God, of course. People like Cherry, Kirsten, Heather, it's not their show, but then again, also it's like, it's not Powell's show. It's not Daniel's show.
It's not
but
show.
these are like, I think just characters who find more easier relevance to like the events that are happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like Heather is really only like, she's a very specific use case for her to like get involved with the story. You know what I mean? But then again, also, like I said, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt of like throwing something up and then waiting to see where it lands. But like, it's not like Heather just came in to consult on Jack's case and that was it. It was like, you are right that it's like, we got these interesting things with her seeing Muse, then looking at the mask, then, having this big blowout with Kirsten on the steps of the thing. And then now we just don't see her basically for 2 episodes in a row. We even got her with that interesting conversation with Buck at the governor's dinner. I thought that all of that was very interesting too. But then, now we just don't see her for 2 entire episodes. But that being said, I don't get hung up on that because I'm just like, what we are seeing is like so good. Like I definitely wouldn't want to replace it with Dr. Heather Glenn. You know what I mean? Like I really don't care, but I do understand that like this season, set up stuff with Heather that we have yet to even go back to, let alone pay off. But I guess that's my last thoughts on episode 4. If you want to jump over to episode 5, we can go ahead. Again, if anyone has not seen episode 5, because you might think how things go in episode 4, but episode 5, things maybe go a little bit different. And we will definitely talk about how things go and end in episode 5. So if you do not want it spoiled, please jump off now. Okay, go ahead. Episode 5.
Like I said before, I thought episode 5 was definitely an improvement. I loved the flashback. And that the flashback tied to what was currently going on as far as Matt helping Bullseye and kind of Foggy and Matt wrestling over to help the criminal
client.
I thought that worked perfectly. Them cutting back and forth. That was awesome.
Yeah. And they tried to do that in season 1. Remember, they tried to do that a couple times in episode 1 and people were like, this just doesn't feel like it's even like connecting to itself.
Yeah.
And this was done so masterfully, but go ahead.
Right.
Please.
And you get a little backstory kind of on Foggy growing up and just kind of that whole Matt and Foggy's dynamic when it comes to helping people. You know what I mean? And obviously Matt's looking at it from a side of like, this guy's an asshole. He was an asshole. You knew him when you were growing up, but he was an asshole then. He's an asshole now. He got caught for running guns and stuff like that. Like he deserves, even though the search warrant was incorrect, he still deserves what he's getting.
Yeah.
And Foggy's like, no, like, you know, we're here to help people. And this is, you know, if I see an opportunity to help this guy.
You saying that makes me think too. That's like Matt being like, that's Matt, like one of the earliest chronological examples we've seen of him like being willing to look the other way for the law. Like,
Right.
like, you know, because it's, you know, I don't know if you know this, but Foggy was a little upset when he found out he was Daredevil, because he's like, this is illegal. And like this episode shows obviously a much smaller thing, but Foggy's like, no, legally, we need to report this,
right.
we need to do this. And Matt's like, look the other way. You know what I mean? Like that, I love that too, that it's, and then, so it tied for me to like the foundations of him becoming Daredevil, and then perfectly tied to him right now in this moment going back into that church to save Bullseye is like, you know, and Bullseye even says in season 1, and remember, everything with Karen, Bullseye, or Vanessa is the new version of the show, because none of those 3 characters were in the original. So Bullseye has that great line to Matt when he interrogates him, and remember, Matt like slams his face down in season 1, and he has that great thing. He's like, you know, the mark of a true hero is to defend your greatest enemy, you know, because he's like, why the hell would you call for me to be your lawyer? And now this is kind of playing on that too, where it's like he is going to protect this guy. You know, I hesitate to say work with, but like he is going to protect this guy and be like, no, you have value. You should not just die because of this. And like, even if you're psychotic, you are saying to me that you are interested in balancing the scales of justice, and that you feel like if Vanessa goes, that this is your way of doing that. And I think that like that's speaking to Matt, that like something in him is just, you know, going back in that church. And I think that it's both, you know, his religion and also him thinking back on Foggy's words to him that I think just make the end of this episode just come together like perfectly. And that's just us talking about the Bullseye, Matt, and Foggy stuff. We're not even talking about the Buck, Vanessa and Fisk stuff. But yeah, I think that episode 5 is for me just easily the best of the season, which probably means the best of the show, because it's probably better than anything from season 1. But man, it was just so great. I mean, the aspect ratio, the cinematography, and I say the aspect ratio is like the change from scene to scene to scene, and how they actually used the different aspect ratios to like evoke something more than just visuals. You know what I mean? They used it to, like, there was a moment where Matt in the present was talking and Matt in the past were talking, and like you could feel the difference of which one was speaking. You know what I mean? Like, and it was almost like his past self, and you know, the literal almost ghost of Foggy was like willing him to go back into that church. And I just think that was like, I would say that the end scene of the episode was the most emotional peak of the episode, obviously with Wilson. But I think that the best moment of this episode for me is just that 1 minute of, you know, I'm sorry, I tried, I can't save us both, I have to go. And then what leads him, one of my favorite things, I'm going to go real quick on a side. One of my favorite things is that people say that Han Solo on the bridge in Return of the Jedi, he walks away, but then he thinks better of it and he turns around and he goes up to Leia and he says, "What's wrong?" You know, it's the same way that he turns around and he comes back to help Luke at the Death Star, that like Han Solo is the guy who will turn around, think better of himself, and go do the right thing. Matt Murdock is that character in the MCU, that like he is so, I mean, think back to the scene in episode 4 where he's laughing to himself when he's like, "You want to do a good deed. What's this good deed that you want to do?" Like to Bullseye. He's like, "Please let me hear it." You know, it's like he hates this guy, but it's like it's like what Bullseye says in the first season. It's like the mark of a true hero is somebody who's willing to defend, or in this case, save their greatest enemy. And I just thought that all that was great. And then walking in the tunnels with all their dialogue to each other. Like I just sometimes they are so on point with the dialogue in this show, and sometimes they aren't. Like, I will give you that. Sometimes they aren't. Man, this episode, whether it's Daniel and BB, Daniel and Buck and Wesley and Fisk and Vanessa, Matt and Bullseye, even the 2 seconds that we get of Karen's reaction to seeing Bullseye, where she's like, oh, what? Like, she's like, I'm gonna kill Matt just for bringing this guy here. I just think that this episode's firing on all cylinders. I will stop now and throw it over to you and go anywhere you want. And then if you want, we can save the very end for the very end.
Yeah, I thought the kind of Buck and Daniel relationship grew in this episode, obviously. Kind of Buck throwing these signals where it's like, oh my God, is this the episode Daniel dies? And then kind of shifting that to being like, hey, you're in this. All right, so let's go bury a body,
Yeah.
So help me. Speaking of Heather, I texted you earlier.
Yeah.
And I was like,
you said that to me last night. Yeah. And I will tell you, and everybody watching this right now, TJ texted me, and I was on a railing 20 feet away from the edge of Niagara Falls, staring into it. And I got a message from TJ, and it said, man, does this show remember that Heather exists? And I said, who the hell is Heather? I said, what are you talking about? But obviously, go ahead.
This show, like this season specifically, we've sidelined, I would say, characters that seem to be bigger in the first season, specifically Heather and Sheila as well. And I think the show struggles juggling so many characters and giving them something meaningful to do.
I think they took a big chunk of they took a big character, a big screen time character off the table this week. I think that screen time is going to go back to some of those other people.
Would agree. And I would even say that this season, their screen time wasn't very useful. It was just kind of there because they had to have it there. But I hope some, and sorry, Kirsten as well, I believe. And that happened in season 1 too, where she was just kind of sidelined and we didn't really see anything from her. I loved what she did in the courtroom with Jack. And I was hoping we get a little bit more of that. I understand why we're not. But these are just some characters that you introduced me to. I would love to see more of them, but they just can't find a way to work them in. And it's like, you should have just left them, honestly. It's like, you should, if we're being honest, again, maybe Heather puts on the mask and, we get a Muse what's the word I'm looking for? Resurrection.
Reborn.
Reborn.
Born again.
Exactly. Yeah. But right now I'm kind of like, you should have just left her in season 1 and just, moved on.
Yeah.
Speaking of the task force real quick, we've talked a little bit about them previously, but is Cole North, like, is he a character, a big character, or like, because they made a point in episode 1 or 2
is like, I think that they are really setting up like a pivot for that character.
Okay.
But I'm like, when is it coming? Because it's like, because a lot of people have made note of the fact. So in the comics, basically, Cole North,
right, he's like
is a dirty cop,
right?
But then he comes to the light and like sees that Daredevil was like right.
Okay.
And so, but the problem is they made Cole North the person who killed Hector Ayala in the first season. Right. So it's like, that's almost an irredeemable act. So it's like, you're gonna try and redeem this guy. Like, good luck.
That's why I'm like, could it be Powell? Did they switch it around maybe and they do that? Because
I gotta like rewatch that episode of season 1 to be like, but I think it was Cole North. But yeah, I think
because
he feels the most muddled in this.
You know season. What I'm referring to, right? In like episode 1 or 2, where he's like, "Come on, man, you gotta let me back in," and it's like they make a point to show him like being like, "Hey, come on, man," they let him in, and then he has like a line in episode.
I think that like
I'm like, okay.
where they're going with it is that he's like, I've had no purpose. You got to let me back in. And I think what they're trying to do is like, oh, because he has had a couple of lines like with Kirsten where he's like, listen, I'm just trying to do my job,
Right.
which like that kind of stuff. And I think it was in when they break everybody out of the detention center in Red Hook. Which also, by the way, I understand that Red Hook is important and like we're gonna get back to Mr. Charles and stuff like that. But also like it did feel good to like kind of like get away from that. It felt good to like not talk about Red Hook for one episode, even though like I like it and everything like that, but it is, but whatever. I think what the hell was I just gonna say? Right. Oh yeah, when they were breaking everybody out, Powell is like, open fire on the prisoners, and Cole North is like, what? Like on the civilians, like so I do think that they're trying to set up that like he's not, that like in the time that he's been away, the task force has like changed. Like they are like much worse now. But the problem is, the longer that we don't see him reacting that way, the less believable any sort of turn from him is going to be, because it's like, well, okay, like even if you were thinking this way, like it's episode 7 right now. So like you've done a lot of stuff. Like even if you didn't do it yourself, like you have not done, and then plus you also killed Hector. So like I really don't know what they're doing with Cole North, but like he could be a big character. Like it feels more like Powell is the one getting the spotlight that like you'd assume that Cole North would from the comics, but but I don't really mind either way, because I like Powell as an actor. I think that he's like he's tremendously terrible in this show.
Right. Going back to real quick, and it's kind of leading into we can go into Fisk and Vanessa, but seeing the flashback with Fisk and Wesley, I find it funny that they so when Buck and Daniel are driving, he's telling Daniel like what he used to do. So he was like he was in the military, and he was in that from a young age, and he's always followed orders, stuff like that. And that's why he's so good at what he does.
Yeah.
And I find it funny that Wesley so he tells Fisk, because they're trying to kill like the guy that Matt and Foggy were defending, right?
Yeah.
And so he tells Fisk, he's like, oh, I know a guy, and the guy is Buck. And then it's like, oh, he's okay, so this is how he becomes like Fisk's guy, and Buck, he fails. He doesn't kill the guy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so this is how you parlayed into this job, is you failed at the job you were given?
Well, I mean, come on. I think a lot more happens between then.
I agree, but I'm like,
mission.
But okay, I was like, because I thought the guy was gonna die. Like I'm surprised he got away, in all honesty, and maybe Buck caught up to him at some point. Yeah. I don't know. They didn't show that or anything, but I just thought it was funny where it was like, oh, we're gonna see like him be a badass and do this, and it's like, no, he failed. He failed upwards, I guess, right now. And maybe we'll see, like you said, maybe we'll see something more. I don't know. But I just thought that was funny. And then going into Fisk and Vanessa, I thought all their scenes were great. I thought the flashbacks worked really well. Did we see that in the original or no?
Which part?
Didn't we see them like meeting?
Yeah. The very final scene in this episode, that is fully just reused footage.
Okay.
So that's from that episode, but everything else
looks really familiar.
Yeah, everything else was like all the stuff of her in the art gallery talking about should we hang it up. Also, I love that this season, obviously, like this show. I love this show so much because it's like we're gonna spend the next minute talking about a painting really quick. But like, I love that Rabbit in a Snowstorm hasn't actually been shown this season yet on camera. Like, and we almost were shown it this episode, but we only saw like these close-ups that we've never seen. We've never seen the painting shot like that before, where it's actually like you can see the different paint strokes. Like we were almost seeing it through like how Vanessa was looking at it, and I really liked that. And then we finally see, you know, the full shot of it, obviously right at the end with the reused footage. But yeah, I thought that just everything with the two of them I thought was fantastic this episode. I mean, like, this is why you bring back Vanessa, like the real Vanessa, because it's like this would not have, and I'm sure the plan wouldn't have been this if they stuck with whoever the new actress was. Probably would have just been like, you know, loyal wife who like also gets into crime. But it's like, it's like, man, having it be real Vanessa, like this like, to give her this moment where essentially like we haven't even talked to her talked about her to this point, but like this is essentially her episode, you know, where like she is kind of like the driving force of it. And then everything that they do with the roller coaster of like the surgery, and then she wakes up, and then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Then I was like, at one point I was like, oh, is her memory gone? Like at first,
I was
the whole pineapple thing.
I think that was all done really well, where it was like, we had no idea. We were like Wilson, where it's like we don't know. Like you said, my brain was like, okay, she's like gonna have short-term memory loss, or she's going to like her memory is just gonna be gone, and she's just gonna be like incapable of, not like a vegetable, but like she's going to be like incapable of like being Vanessa. She's not going to be this deal maker or this speech giver that we've known her to be. You know, it's going to be, you know, heartbreaking and stuff. And then talk about heartbreaking. I mean, the way that the episode ends of just like, you know, no matter how good the surgery is, like sometimes people just don't make it. And it's like,
there was one moment too where like he gets really mad. I forget why he gets so mad. Fisk does. And she was like, I've never seen you, you know, like that way. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, what is this?
The nurse is like, it doesn't matter, right? But yeah, the nurse was like, I gotta take her. Yeah, I gotta take her. What am I trying to say?
Like
I have to take her vitals. Yeah. And he was like, no, the pineapple juice. And she was like, you almost made her cry. I've never seen that from you. And he's like, I think you have. I think that's usually me. But yeah, that's like, that was the first moment where you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, I thought maybe, because then I was like, oh, maybe she's like reset back to like their first date or something like that. You know what I mean? Or like she doesn't know, maybe she knows where she is and who she's with, but she doesn't know when she is. That was another thing I was thinking. But then the fact that it was just like, hey man, you could perform brain surgery, but sometimes it just doesn't go back together right. You know, and it's like that just happens to people. And it was like that was like terrible. And then, I mean, what do you want to talk about? I mean, first of all, I want to just say, all in all, her performance was fantastic. She was great in this whole episode. Not only the flashbacks to the Netflix style of things with the cinematography and the aspect ratio, plus everything that was happening currently was so good, but honestly, those like them talking in bed a few episodes ago about the island that they own and like, why don't we just go there and put all this behind us and stuff. The fact that it ended with, you know, him seeing her one last time in that, like, you know, the two of them on that beach, I thought was a beautiful moment. And then the smash cut to the reality of him screaming in the hospital, then the cut to black, and then the sound of the waves was like, that's peak cinema. I was like, man. And then, that's right. Cause I was like, Vanessa was so good. Vincent D'Onofrio, so good in that scene. I mean, like, just the, you know, he's like, I felt like everything was so consistent with who this character is, that like, he is just so emotional. And it's just like, man, I have no idea where this guy is going to go next. You know what I mean? Like this guy is going to fly off the handle in a level that we have never seen, like genuinely never seen. But yeah, sorry. Anything? Go ahead. You want to talk about the end with Vanessa and everything like that? I kind of gave my thoughts, but
I thought, like you said, I thought it was all very well done. And at first, before obviously the ending, I was like, oh, maybe we're going to make it through it, and then
so did I.
It seemed like she had a stroke or something. I don't actually know, obviously, but I thought yeah, that was all very well done. Exactly like you said, like showing the flashback, and then we get them on the island for like a split second, and then the reality of what is actually happening. So that was all really well done. And yeah, I mean, I think this is when the show is going to ramp up.
Yeah,
I will say.
and I think looking back, if the show, because it's not, to quote Ryan Gosling, it's not your job to enjoy the show. It's the show's job to be enjoyable. You know what I mean? To paraphrase Ryan Gosling, I should say. I would love nothing more than if this is where, if we're coming back after episode 8 and then we're gearing up for the Punisher special presentation, and we're like, man, halfway through this season, it just like tore off. Like, and if you and I only disagree about that by like one episode, like, I think that's like totally fair. Like, I just think if they really can sustain this just to the end, and we only have 3 more episodes. We have 6, 7, and 8, and that's all we have left. So, man, if the last 3 are as good as this one, and in my opinion, these last 2, wow, we're gonna be like, when is season 3? Which the answer is next January. So we win.
So 2 quick questions. Am I incorrect in thinking Bernthal was in this season? Was I misled?
I think, well, I don't know what you read or whatever, but they said that he is. They said that he is not. They were like, he is not in this.
Because I've been under the impression that he's going to show up, and I'm like, we're running out of, and that's the same with everybody else. And I was like, we're running out of time. Like,
yeah, the one that I'm feeling is like, where is Jessica?
Right, which I saw on IMDb. There's an image of her on the episode kind of page, so I'm assuming she shows up in the next one.
Okay, yeah. And that would make sense. There's only 3 episodes left,
right? So. I'm very interested to see kind of how they work those. They work them all in there. Because I thought next week
is going to be the funeral.
I thought when he brought Bullseye back, I thought Frank was going to be in there.
I thought Jessica was going to be in there. I thought that's what they were setting up, is that it was going to be like that he would just go in and it would be Jessica and Karen there. It'd be like, what the fuck? But the fact that it was, just Jessica, but maybe for the exact reason, maybe they're like, we need a little bit more muscle to like keep Bullseye in line. You know what I mean?
And we're bringing back everybody, right? Like you said, we're bringing back, who's the other guy? Iron Fist.
Yeah. And Luke Cage.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. There's the clip of Jessica in the trailer. She's like, the task force came after my daughter. And I think that's like, which is interesting because that confirms that, like, well, she only has a daughter with one person. She only has a real daughter with one person in the comics, and that's Luke Cage. So I think that, like, the idea is that in between time that, like, the 2 of them got like married, like fully like married and like have a kid and stuff.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just have the kid, but they're separated. That would also be interesting. But I definitely think that at least her daughter is going to be, her daughter with Luke Cage.
Final prediction real quick. This is completely different character. Do we think that BB's going to get at some point? I think we got a trio here where we got Buck and Daniel and BB, and
somebody's got to go. One of those 3 has to go, because it's like, I think I think that will be the plan. Mm-hmm. I think that ultimately Daniel will do something that gets him killed to save BB. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that Buck is like, okay, I like you, kid. Like, he says straight up to him, he's like, I like you, but like, you have to understand, like, we work for a man who can make anything happen for us. And right now you are squandering it. In fact, you are working against him, and I know it. And I am going to not say anything if you pull your head out of your ass and like, help me with this. Yeah. And I think that Daniel, I think that Buck is going to think that worked on Daniel. And I don't think it worked. I think Daniel cares about BB more than he cares about Fisk.
Agreed. Daniel, he always shocks me because whenever he sees a piece of news that we know he always acts surprised.
Yeah, that one got me. Where that one got me. Where he's like, God damn it, BB.
Yeah,
He's
BB.
like, you gave her a quote. You said, I will not give you a quote, and then she said, come on, and she said more than that. But then you said she's in critical condition. Okay, you just gave a reporter a quote. Like, what do you think? I don't know what to tell you, man.
Oh my god,
it's gonna
that
end up on
and
the
then
fucking
I said
news.
a few weeks ago with the laptop when he sees the file on the laptop that he leaked and he's like surprised that it's there. It's like, bro, dude, you said it to her. Like, what are you talking about?
Also, like, you have all this money now and stuff. Just like destroy your laptop. Just get a new laptop. Like destroy your hard drive.
Or even in episode 4 when she gets the information from the White Tiger girl, and he like stares at her, and it's like clearly he knows, like he knows like what that was, but like it's just, I don't know, it's weird how it comes off in these episodes where it's like, why are you surprised? Like, you're the one feeding the information.
Yeah. I'm interested to know, because there's people too that are like, I think Daniel's personally leading where I just said, where it's like he's gonna be like, you know, the House of Cards is gonna cave in on him.
Yeah.
But I know there are some people who think like he's like got a master plan that's like not even yet to be revealed type of thing. And it's like, I feel like that might be a little too much credit for that character. I don't know if they're going to go that like he's some master manipulator. But then again, there was that whole conversation with Karen about, you know, the best manipulators are the ones who wind up getting manipulated. So that could be true of Buck. That could be true of BB, Daniel, Karen, any of them. Very interesting. But the last thing I will say, which I'm happy to say, that I'm happy that you sound a little more positive on it than I thought that you were. So that makes me feel good. But the last thing I'll just say before I'm ready to end is this show looks beautiful. I mean, I just the look of this show is like, it's like nothing else from any of the Marvel shows. I mean, from any other Disney Plus show. Like this, everything just feels real. And it's like, yes, I know there's people online that are like, oh, can they cool it with the fog machine? And it's like, okay, I get it. But also like Daredevil is like, you know, then let's cool it with the fog and the drama and the rain in Batman movies then too. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what to tell you. Like the character looks for fog so that he can aura farm. Like it's Daredevil. But man, it just, everything looks so great. And like the church looks so great. And like the call out, I thought we were going to get a Father Lantom name drop in this episode, that when him and Matt were in the church, but he just is the little sign of the cross. But yeah, absolutely crazy. Really excited to see where the next 3 go. I just think that these 2 episodes were great. I thought that Vanessa in particular, her performance was just fantastic. Also, there was whatever the combination, and I'm sure they used every trick in their arsenal except for AI. Whatever they did, digital makeup, wigs, hairstyling, makeup to make everybody look younger, except for Matt's wig. I would say Matt's wig was a little ill suited to him. But everybody else, I mean, I thought that all the de-aging looked fantastic, whatever they did, if it was just makeup or if it was digital makeup. But I like that nobody looked like they were like horrific. Nobody looked like deep faked or anything, or like weird or anything. Which helps when you're trying to tell such a dramatic flashback story. I think that it really, really held together. And I like that we get the little origin of, you know, this is the case that nailed in that it would be Nelson and Murdoch, not Murdoch and Nelson. So like that was a nice little fun moment at the end too. That it was a nice light moment in this hard episode. And I like that they ended the flashbacks with Matt and Foggy kind of walking off into the distance together. You know, that like we know they're gonna go off and you know, at least for a time, they're gonna be fine. You know. Yeah. But yeah, anything else to touch on Daredevil before we wrap up?
No, that's it for me.
Boom. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We talked about a lot of stuff tonight, and we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about next week. But luckily, everything next week is just should just be single episodes besides Darth Maul. So we will join you guys next week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If anything crazy drops in the remainder of CinemaCon, I know we got some Dune footage shown, a bunch of trailers, bunch of posters coming out, a bunch of updates, everything like that. Warner Brothers committed to, they have 15 theatrical releases this year. Which is good. Whether that has to do with the merger or not, I don't know, but Warner Brothers has been on a hot streak in terms of the filmmaking and stuff, so you love to see that. But if anything crazy breaks out of CinemaCon, I'm sure we're going to talk about it next week. And yeah, that'll do it for me, but let us know down below your thoughts on Daredevil, Maul, Shadow Lord, The Boys, the drama, anything coming out from CinemaCon, Spider-Man Brand New Day, Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, anything like that, let us know down below. Join us here next week, and that'll do it for me. I have been one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been known as TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and we will see you next time.
Boom.